Here we go, another episode of our podcast here with Moving Sales Professionals. Once again, I'm Yuriy, the owner of Moving Sales Professionals, and I got Mr. Elliot Ward with me today. He's been a realtor for 19 years?
19 years.
What got you into the industry? What got you started?
Well, my background before getting into real estate was in my previous career was in marketing, public relations, web design with a startup tech company. And when that folded, I was looking for a different career, a different move. My family was in the real estate business. My mother was an agent, and my grandfather owned an appraisal company, and so I was looking at the pros and cons of the business, and it was a natural fit. I'd like to help people. I've always enjoyed architecture and design. Interior design is cool. So and helping people, it all kind of came together and fit. But it's the flexibility of being a small business owner that is able to give me some life balance as well, and so it all kind of came together, and against my mother's best wishes, she would have liked me to have done something else. I got into the business, and she mentored me along. So unlike some other agents who don't have that attachment, that prior attachment to the industry, I had some help, some support to kind of get me started and propel me into the industry. So
well, sounds like you have a lot of experience. So it's experience we like here at Moving Sales Professionals too. Mm-hmm. So if for some reason things don't work out, you can always call me.
Great. I appreciate that. You never know.
You never know. But the main thing, obviously, that the whole small business vibe, it's obviously what a lot of our clients possess, and a lot of connection that we have with you in general. Obviously, you're helping me out in my search for a home.
Sure.
But that's a small business deal is what a lot of our clients are dealing with as well. So what is this is something that obviously everybody wants to know. They want to hear. What are the projections? What are you feeling based on your years of experience is happening with the housing market? Are we going to be seeing something that's going to make us go, here we go, at some point soon? What do you think?
Well, so right now we're in the winter market. Traditionally it's a slower time of the year. January is traditionally one of the slower months of the year. So we're certainly seeing that traditional market continue into 2023. We've certainly seen the impact that the interest rates have made in the marketplace. It's given a lot of buyers pause, and it's hindered certain buyers from certain markets or price ranges where they were previously looking. The affordability has certainly scaled back. It's changed because of the increase in the interest rate. Now the interest rate has actually gone down a little bit, which is nice. And what we're hearing is that the Fed may not be increasing the rates as quickly as they had been, and in fact we might be seeing a plateau of the rates as well. So all of that news is encouraging. We're over the past 50 years, the interest rate right now, 6 1/8, 6 1/4%, is still relatively low considering where interest rates have been, going up and down in the past 50 years. So we certainly are seeing consumers coming to grips with that. That being said, we were going into 2023 already with a low inventory, as you've personally seen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's few and far between. The supply demand curve is scaled so far into the seller's market in our local economy, in our local market, that it's a hindrance to buyers. And as we've talked about, just recently, if you're a buyer who has to sell and you're not finding something to buy, well, then you're not selling, and it's perpetuating this the supply demand imbalance. So going into 2023, we're certainly going to see a spring market that is ramping up, where we'll start to see more supply. But with that supply in that spring market, we also tend to see an increase in demand as well. So right now, that imbalance, I believe, is going to continue, and through 2023, pricing in terms of appreciation is going to be determined, of course, by location. Baltimore City versus Baltimore County can be two different beasts in terms of inventory, in terms of appreciation, in terms of how we're seeing the market going into 2023. And it's going to be interesting. We're not planning on seeing as much profitability as last year, as 2022. So, for those of us out there, we're saving our pennies. We're preparing, for it to be a little bit tougher market than even last year. And but the hope is that more consumers become more comfortable with that increased interest rate and start to get out there and start to list more property. The more inventory we see, the more balanced the market we see, and then that being the case, the more transactions we will see as well.
Okay, so how fast do you think we're gonna see basically movement? Because obviously we're talking about moving, so this is
Right.
definitely related. The housing market is related to what we're going to see, whether it's houses or apartments or condos or what have you, right? So in terms of, are you thinking this is a projection of the next month, the next 2, the next 5? What are you thinking? What is that looking like to you?
Yeah, I think we will see a traditional spring market. So February, March, we'll start to see the pace changing a little bit. And then we'll start to see the more traditional spring market, where we'll start to see an increase in inventory, increase in transactions. And typically what happens is once we start seeing that change, the trickle effect is that 1 to 3 months after that, we then start to see settlement transactions starting to take place. In other words, you go under contract in March, you may settle and move in May, and so so you go under contract in May, you may move in July, and so we'll start to see that trickle down into the summer months as well. It'll be a more traditional market than we saw last year. I'm begging clients to list their homes now, because there's so little listing competition, that with supply and demand the way that it is, it's a great time to sell. So
it'd be nice to buy and then to sell.
it would be, absolutely.
That's where I am. Okay. Right.
Okay. Now, would you say, like for us, we've been continuously looking. We just haven't seen anything that's sparking our interest right now, right? But would you say, how would you characterize people staying put in terms of just giving up the moving plans or looking for a new home altogether versus continuing to look?
Right.
How would you say, what would you say the percentages are, obviously?
That's
more,
yeah,
more so
yeah.
than
I
anything, but
couldn't.
What are you hearing?
couldn't-
What are your colleagues hearing in that regard? I mean, obviously you guys talk.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I really couldn't put a finger on what the percentages are. That's a good question. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Well, so obviously, for the time being, at least it sounds like we're projecting going back to our regular seasonal summer. So that's a good plus.
Right.
We all know we all could use a faster summer, whether it's for you in in the realtor business. Same goes with us in the moving industry. We definitely want to see an increase. So sounds like between yourself and your experience and your colleagues, sounds like that's the general trend or feeling about on the subject.
Yeah, it is, and again, this is when we hear reports in the news about the national market and prices going down or things like that. It has less to do with our regional market than it does other regions around the country. We are very much insulated because of the job market, because of the government sector, than a lot of other markets throughout the country, and that helps us. That helps us to remain a little bit more balanced, and because we have the market that is upwardly mobile in terms of moving to different job markets, we're going to have a little bit more turnover than other markets may see as well. And I think those things impact the market too.
What's your feeling, just national wise, not necessarily our market here in Maryland and Virginia and what have you, but what's your feeling on the national, like in terms of people moving out of state and those type of things? Is there less movement, more movement happening on a national scale, or what is your feeling on that?
Well, local versus national, local, the projections are that we have a shortage of housing. So nationally, on the other hand, there are certain markets that have a lot more raw land that we have. So there's a lot more building going on in other markets than there are in our regional market. That certainly changes things for those, between our market and some other markets. The build out is makes a big difference. That being said, again, we're going to see a slowdown in pace, like we've seen between this year and last year.
I mean, would you say it's a big jump or kind of incremental, or just?
It's hard to say right now. Because we're still in a slow part of the year. January being traditionally one of the slower months. It's anyone's guess.
Okay, so here we are, guys. Looks like for the time being, we are going to see a bit of a slow. There is obviously some anticipation in terms of usual increase when we see spring going into summer and what have you. But either way, we have to hold on, and going back to things that I've said before, creativity is going to be the key for us to find new ways and new partnerships and things of that nature. But anyway, Elliot, once again, thank you for taking your time to sit down with us today. We'd love to have you again with us. And for you, those of you watching and following our podcast, once again, thank you very much for your support. Please like and subscribe our podcast. Continue tuning in. And if you're interested in becoming a part of our show here, please click on the Calendly link below to schedule a conversation about setting up a podcast. And if you're interested in the services that Moving Sales Professionals provides, also do the same. Thank you for your time, Moving Sales Professionals, and we're out.